After age 60, poor circulation can quietly triple your risk of falling. Cold feet, heavy legs, tingling, night cramps. Most people think this is just getting older. It's not. Today I'm going to show you why circulation gets worse with age, and one simple drink that can help improve it in hours, not weeks. I'll rank 10 popular drinks from the worst to the best so you know exactly what helps and what's a waste of time. And the number one drink, it can open your blood vessels by up to 30%. It's probably already in your kitchen, but most people drink it the wrong way. Stay with me because this might go against what you've been told. Let's talk about what changes after age 60. This is not about opinions. This is biology. Inside your blood vessels, there is a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is what tells your arteries to relax. It keeps them open, soft, and flexible. When nitric oxide is high, blood flows easily. Oxygen reaches your muscles. Nerves stay healthy. Legs feel warm and strong. But after 60, something happens. Your body begins producing far less nitric oxide. In some people, production drops by more than half. When that happens, blood vessels tighten, arteries become stiff, blood struggles to reach your feet. This is why your legs feel different now than they did years ago. This is not just cold feet. Low circulation causes muscle fatigue, night cramps, tingling or burning, slow wound healing, balance problems, and here's the part most people don't realize. When blood flow slows, tiny clots can begin forming in small vessels. You can't feel them, you can't see them, but they block circulation even more. This is why fall risk increases so sharply after 60. Most people are advised to walk more, elevate their legs, drink more water, or take medications that thin the blood slightly. And while these steps can help at the margins, they do not address the core issue, which is the body's declining ability to signal blood vessels to relax, because movement alone cannot restore nitric oxide production. Water alone does not widen arteries, and medications that thin the blood do not improve vessel flexibility. So people often feel frustrated, doing what they are told yet seeing little improvement, assuming their decline is inevitable, when in reality the missing piece is rarely discussed. The body still knows how to make nitric oxide, even later in life, but it needs the right building blocks to do so. This is where nutrition becomes important, not in a complicated or extreme way, but in a very specific way, because certain naturally occurring compounds found in everyday foods and drinks can be converted by the body into nitric oxide through well-understood biochemical pathways. And this process has been studied for decades in the context of heart health, athletic performance, and vascular function. And when these compounds are consumed regularly, they can increase nitric oxide availability, improve blood vessel flexibility, and support healthier circulation, especially in the legs. And this is not about miracle cures or instant fixes, but about giving the vascular system what it needs to function the way it was designed to. Not all drinks are equal when it comes to circulation, and this is where confusion often arises, because many beverages are marketed as healthy, antioxidant-rich, or heart-friendly, but only a small number directly support nitric oxide production in a meaningful way, while others provide only mild or indirect benefits, and some even work against circulation by raising blood sugar or causing temporary vessel constriction, which is why understanding the difference matters. Because someone trying to improve leg circulation does not need more hype, they need clarity. A lot of people assume that fixing circulation starts with drinking more water, And while water is absolutely essential for survival and basic cardiovascular function, here's the uncomfortable truth most people are never told. Water alone does not improve circulation after a certain age, because although dehydration thickens the blood and makes circulation worse, water does not increase nitric oxide or tell blood vessels to relax. It only keeps things from getting worse, which is why so many people who drink plenty of water every day still deal with cold feet, heavy legs, numbness, and nighttime cramping. And this is often the moment people get frustrated and start wondering what they're missing, because they feel like they're doing everything right with nothing to show for it. Green tea is usually the next suggestion, and yes, it has real benefits. It contains antioxidants that protect blood vessels over time. But when it comes to leg circulation specifically, the effects are slow and subtle, often requiring months of consistent use to notice small changes. And there's another problem no one mentions, which is that the caffeine in green tea can actually tighten blood vessels temporarily in some people, meaning the drink that's supposed to help circulation can quietly work against it, which is why green tea can support overall health but rarely produces the kind of noticeable leg improvements people are hoping for. This is where fruit juices like tart, cherry juice, or pomegranate juice start to sound more promising because they contain powerful plant compounds that reduce inflammation inside blood vessel walls and help protect nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. And for some people, this does translate into smoother blood flow over time. But there's a catch that matters, especially later in life. And that catch is sugar, because these juices contain large amounts of natural sugar that spike insulin, and elevated insulin can temporarily impair circulation, particularly in people with blood sugar issues, which means these juices can help and hurt at the same time, making them an option that requires caution rather than something to rely on every day. Now, here's where things start to change, because when people switch to pure, unsweetened cocoa, the effect is often faster and more noticeable, and that's because cocoa contains flavonols that actively stimulate nitric oxide production, not weeks later, but within hours, and many people feel their legs warming up the same day. But this only works if the cocoa is prepared correctly, because most cocoa drinks are loaded with sugar, and sugar cancels out the very circulation benefit people are trying to get, which is why cocoa works beautifully in theory, but only for people who know how to use it properly. Watermelon juice takes things a step further, because it contains L-citrulline, an amino acid your body converts directly into nitric oxide. And unlike slow-acting antioxidants, L-citrulline can start improving circulation within a few hours, which is why many people notice warmer feet or lighter legs the same day they drink it. But again, there's a limitation, because watermelon juice is not always easy to get year-round and still contains natural sugar, which means it's helpful but not always practical as a daily habit. Then there's hibiscus tea, a drink most people overlook entirely, yet it quietly does something important that many circulation drinks don't, which is improve the function of the blood vessel lining itself, allowing arteries to relax more naturally while also lowering blood pressure. And because hibiscus doesn't rely on sugar or stimulants, many people notice steadier improvements when they use it consistently, especially reduced cramping and better leg comfort. Though anyone with already low blood pressure needs to pay attention, because its effects can be stronger than expected. Celery juice moves firmly into powerful territory because celery is loaded with natural dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide through a pathway that begins in the mouth and continues in the stomach. And this pathway works extremely well even in older adults, often improving blood flow within hours, which is why athletes have used nitrate-rich vegetables for performance for years. And while the taste and preparation turn some people away, the physiological impact on circulation is hard to ignore. Leafy greens like arugula push this even further, because arugula is one of the most nitrate-dense foods on the planet, meaning small amounts deliver a strong nitric oxide signal. And when consumed regularly, many people notice reduced leg cramping, better walking endurance, and warmer feet. But the trade-off is commitment, because this approach requires fresh greens and daily preparation, which is why it works incredibly well for those who stick with it and not at all for those who don't. And finally, this brings us to the drink that consistently outperforms all the others, not because it's trendy or expensive, but because it delivers nitrates in the most absorbable, reliable form the body knows how to use. And that drink is beetroot juice, which has been studied extensively in both older adults and athletes and repeatedly shown to improve blood flow within hours while also producing lasting improvements in arterial flexibility and walking endurance when used daily, making it one of the simplest and most practical ways to support leg circulation when used correctly, consistently, and with realistic expectations. And once people experience the difference, they often realize the problem was never aging, but a missing signal their blood vessels were waiting for. What is important to understand is that none of these drinks work as instant fixes on their own, and none of them replace the need for generally healthy habits. But what they do address is a very specific and very common nutritional gap created by modern diets, which are far lower in nitrate-rich vegetables and natural nitric oxide-producing compounds than the diets people ate decades ago. And this gap slowly weakens blood vessel function over time without most people realizing it, because the decline is gradual and easy to blame on aging itself. When this missing input is restored through simple, consistent choices, the vascular system often responds surprisingly well, even later in life, because the biological machinery responsible for regulating blood flow does not disappear with age. It simply becomes understimulated, and once it receives the signals it has been missing, blood vessels often become more responsive, flexible, and efficient again. Consistency matters far more than intensity in this process, because nitric oxide levels rise and fall based on what the body receives daily, not what it receives occasionally, which means real benefits are built slowly through repetition rather than bursts of effort. And this is why people who commit to one or two simple, repeatable habits often see more improvement than those who jump from one solution to another, trying everything briefly but nothing long enough to matter. This approach is not about fighting aging or forcing the body to behave unnaturally, but about supporting normal physiological processes that have quietly gone under-supported for years, allowing the body to respond the way it was designed to when given the right conditions. Improving circulation is not about perfection, extreme diets, or complicated routines that are impossible to maintain, but about understanding what your blood vessels actually need and providing it steadily, day after day, in a way that fits real life. Because when circulation improves, the benefits go beyond physical symptoms, and people often notice warmer legs, fewer cramps, better balance, easier walking, and a growing sense of confidence in their movement, which is ultimately the real goal, not to turn back time, but to move forward with greater strength, stability, and independence. So here's the simple next step. Choose one circulation supporting habit you can realistically stick with, commit to it daily for the next 30 days, and pay attention to how your legs feel, how you walk, and how your confidence changes. If this video helped you understand circulation in a new way, take a moment to like the video so more people can find it. And if you want to learn how to combine these habits safely and consistently, subscribe and stay with me, because small daily choices repeated over time are often what make the biggest difference.